Hey, what's up guys? Rafiel coming at you with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype analysis. And much like my last Archetype analysis on Heartbeats, we're going to be doing another Archetype that's very near and dear to my heart, that I've wanted to be good for a long time, but it's never really going to get there because it is very much a troll Archetype. It is of course the Toon monsters. So the Toons were used exclusively by Pegasus in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. And then, of course, they do show up in GX, but they got a lot of new support. So, we're going to be going through all the cards in the Archetype, as well as a few cards that you can use to kind of increase the speed or strength of the deck a little bit. But honestly, the deck is still very, very hindered. Anyway, guys, also, if you would like to see a report of how I did for YCS 2018 in Melbourne, please let me know in the comments below. And like and subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot. So anyway, guys, let's get into the video. So I'm going to start off, Yu-Gi-Oh! Classifies Toons in the Toon monsters into 3, Class A, B, and C at the time I made this video. I would like to classify it further into Class A, C, B, and D. So we're going to start off with, and I'll get to why in a minute. So we'll start with Class A. So Class A are the original 4 Toon monsters. These were all used by Pegasus in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like all Toon monsters, they are based on iconic monsters. Obviously, with the exception of Mermaid and Ryuran, which are based on Red Archery Girl and Ryuran. But obviously, Toon Mermaid is more iconic than Red Archery Girl, clearly. So they all have the ability that it can only be special summoned if Toon World is on the field. And if they do, level 6, level 5 or higher Toons do require a tribute. For these particular 4 monsters, they are special summons. So cards that say cannot be used for tribute summons can actually be tributed, which is one of the reasons why back in the day I used the Karibo Multiply, which gave me 5 monsters I could tribute, as well cards like, and if your opponent gives you tokens with like Ojama Trio and stuff, you could always use those as well. If these guys want to attack, you do have to pay 500 life points, but they can attack your opponent directly, like all Toon monsters, if you control Toon World and your opponent does not control a Toon monster. Unfortunately, the only downside is if Toon World's destroyed, you lose all of these monsters. The only one of the Class A Toons we actually do play nowadays is Toon Mermaid, because of how quickly she can spam the field, that she doesn't require any tribute to be special summoned, and you can special summon a bunch of her and then tribute her straight away. So, the card that makes the whole deck work is basically Toon World. Toon World is a continuous spell that reads simply pay 1000 life points to activate this card. All the effects for Toons are on the Toons themselves, not the Toon World. Toon World was very, very susceptible to like MSTs, Twin Twisters, Dust Tornadoes, all that before Kingdom came out, and I'll get to Kingdom a bit later. The first 2 Toon support cards Spear ever released were Toon Defense and Toon Table of Contents. Toon Table of Contents we still play because it is one of the best Toon cards of all time. It searches your deck for any Toon card or manga Ryuran, very, very simple, and can search itself. So I'll play a long time ago back in the Blue Eyes Exodia deck, because it could search itself, and then finally a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, and then trade a Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, and I think they play it in, I think it's Muskets now, because it thins the deck so quickly. Then we have Toon Defense, which activates if your opponent attacks a level 4 or lower Toon monster you control, you can take it as direct attack instead. Unfortunately, it's bad because it's only for your level 4s, and Toon Kingdom basically makes the card unplayable, as it protects all your Toon monsters. Moving on to the one and only Class B Toon, which is the Toon Dark Magician Girl. Toon Dark Magician Girl is without a doubt my favourite Toon monster because she's based on the Dark Magician Girl, and like all Toon monsters that have based on effect monsters, they do carry with them their original effects. So she does get power for every Dark Magician or Magician of Black Chaos in either player's graveyard. Unfortunately, she doesn't get power for Toon Dark Magician, as he was printed a lot longer after she was, and much like her counterpart, the Dark Magician Girl, her TCG art is censored. But what's interesting about Dark Magician Girl is she has to be special summoned, so she can't be normal summoned. But she's the only monster in the entire archetype that's unaffected by summoning sickness, making her one of the most valuable monsters you have to play in your deck as a 1 or 2 of. She doesn't have any real decent special abilities, which is one of the reasons why people don't like playing her. But there's so many things you can do, like you can do a rush combo with her, which I'll explain a bit later, with some spells, which make her so valuable. And because she's a Dark Spellcaster with 2000 attack, there are so many generic Dark Spellcaster cards you can play that make her so easy to summon. To name a few, you have Magical Dimension, Dark Renewal, Dark Magic Veil, and of course Magical Dimension, which works so well, Magician Circle, which was actually played quite a lot in all the Toon decks because so much of the deck is actually spellcasters. Now we're going to move on to the class C Toons. We have Toon Gemini Elf. So Toon Gemini Elf is based on the Gemini Elf, and because she's based on normal monster, she carries with her a new special ability. If your opponent, if she deals damage to your opponent's life points, they lose a card from their hand. She's also a spellcaster. We have Masked Sorcerer. Very similar effect to Gemini Elf. If it deals damage to your opponent, you get to draw a card. Similar effect to the original Gemini Elf. These cards are amazing as they have hand control for both you and your opponent and must be played in the deck. Next up we have Goblin Attack Force and Cannon Soldier. So Cannon Soldier is a card it's kind of iffy. It isn't bad to run in the deck at 1 or 2. It's really good if you run the DMG Beatdown, Turbo Beatdown deck, because it has the effect of course tribute a card. Tribute a monster, deal 500, and Goblin Attack Force is Goblin Attack Force. If it attacks, it must change to defense mode, and you can't choose back in the next turn. But they're affected by Summoning Sickness, much like Gemini Elf and Masked Sorcerer, so it's up to you if you want to run them. Now we're going to move on to what I would call the Class D Toons. So what's interesting about all the Class D Toons is they're actually not destroyed if Toon World's destroyed. And they actually have some really interesting mechanics you add. First off, you have Toon Cyber Dragon. It's basically Cyber Dragon. And it's worded as Cyber Dragon as well, so it has all the cards that work with generic Cyber Dragon monsters such as Chimera Tech Mega Fleet, as well as being able to summon Cyber Dragon Infinity through Nova. This guy is really good. So if your opponent controls no monsters and you control none, this guy can be special summoned from your hand. He's very, very good. We've got Barrel Dragon. Flip a coin 3 times. If it's at least 2 heads, you can destroy a card on your opponent's field. I think he's going to be played a lot in the Barrel Dragon deck coming out later this year. Buster Blader. Very, very strong card. Very, very good side deck. If your opponent's playing heavy dragons, it's Buster Blader. Very, very good. Very, very cool looking card. We've got Ancient Gear Golem. So Ancient Gear Golem is a card you actually could main deck and get away with it as your main beater. He does have Ancient Gear Golem's effect, so he has Piercing and the Ancient Gear effect, where if it attacks, your opponent can't activate spell or traps till the end of the damage step. He is level 8, and he is an Earth Machine, so he's a bit hard to get out on the field. And then finally, we have the 2 most important Class D members, Red Eyes Toon Dragon and the Toon Dark Magician. So Red Eyes Toon Dragon, obviously based on Red Eyes, can special summon 2 monsters from your hand once per turn, ignoring their summoning conditions. Unfortunately, he can't bring them back from the graveyard, meaning this deck basically has no graveyard recursion. So you have to play cards like Back to the Front and Cold Horn and stuff like that. I'd like to get a Toon monster in the future that can, or cards that can resurrect Toons from the graveyard, as there is a chance we may get new Toon support eventually. Then we have Toon Dark Magician. So he can, once per turn, you can discard a Toon card or Munga Ryuran from your hand to special summon any Toon you want from your deck, or add any Toon spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Whilst you can, it's really, really strong card. Amazing card. You must run this guy at 3, and because he's a Dark Spellcaster, you can bring him out with Magical Dimension, Dark Renewal, and Dark Magic Veil, similar to Dark Magician Girl. I love to see Dark Magician Girl errated so that she can get power from this guy, as it would make turboing out that 3 Dark Magician Girls combo really, really strong. So eventually, Toon World would get a reprint, retrain as Toon Kingdom, which, when this card is destroyed, banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down to activate it. Then it's Toon World on the field, and if a Toon monster would be destroyed, you can banish a card from the top card of your deck face down for each monster destroyed, and your opponent can't target 2 monsters. Obviously, it's rarity bumped in TCG from a rare to a short print secret rare, and the short print secret rare is about 45 AUD average last time I checked, so you can get your rares for about $10 each, or you can get a playset for 20 on eBay if you're really lucky. Cards that can protect your Toon Kingdom, because it can't protect itself, unfortunately, are cards like Magician's Left and Right Hand, which negate the first spell and trap your opponent plays each turn if you control a spellcaster. Then you've got Magical Reflector, which gives it a counter. If the card believes to be destroyed, you can remove the counter instead. This card's not as good now, mostly because there are cards that remove without destruction. The negative side of putting everything back face down allows cards like Necroface, very, very handy, puts them all back. And before Toon Kingdom, cards like Secret Village of the Spellcasters and Silver Rokelkos were really good ways to help the deck out. Secret Village, of course, stopping your opponent from activating spells, and Silver Rokelkos protecting your weaker Toons from being destroyed, and giving everything an extra 500, so very, very good. Then we have Mimicat. Mimicat is one of the first Toon spell and traps to not have Toon in its name. If you control a Toon World and a Toon monster, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard, and if it's a monster, special summon it to your side of the field. If it's a spell or trap, you get to set it. This card's really, really strong, as it can disrupt your opponent's graveyard plays, but Toons are very slow already, so they've probably already used it to the best of their advantage. You only play one, because like Toon Kingdom, it is a short print secret, and it is very, very difficult, and it can't be searched, and it's hard to find. Next up, we have two cards called Shadow Toon and Toon Rollback. So the Toon Rollback is actually a decent card you could main deck in most Toon decks, as it gives one of your Toons the ability to have a second attack in the battle phase. And Shadow Toon allows you to deal damage to your opponent's life points equal to the attack of a monster they control. These cards work really well in that DMG beatdown combo, as I was explaining before, because DMG can attack the turn she's summoned. So if you can turbo out 3 Dark Magician Girls, or at least 2, which is really easy with Magician's Circle, or if you play 2 Magician's Circle, you can turbo out 3, you can attack your opponent for 6k. You can use rollback on the first one, which is to attack again, so you instantly have your 8k. Or if you only get 2 out, that's 6k. Your Shadow Toon will burn, and then if you can get your Masked Sorcerer out, you can distribute them and deal more damage. So it's a really decent combo you can pull off that can deal a lot of damage very, very quickly. But you've got to build for it, but it's still... I actually might try it. Might be fun. Might build a whole deck based around it, but it's a decent combo you can try. My deck isn't really based around doing that, though. Then you have Comic Hand. Comic Hand is the other Toon card at the moment, which doesn't have Toon in its name. Basically works like a Call of the Haunted, like Change of Heart, but it's an equipped spell that actually doesn't target, and it turns your opponent's monster into a Toon monster that you get to use for your own. Really, really cool card. Then we've got Toon Mask and Toon Briefcase, the other 2 Toon traps that exist at the moment. These cards are actually very, very good. Toon Briefcase actually works like summon negation, kind of. If they summon monster or monsters while you control a Toon monster, you can shuffle them all back in the deck. Very, very strong if they're pendulum summoning like 5 or 4 or anything, or just pendulums in general. You can put all their pendulums back in the deck. And Toon Mask, if you control Toon World, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, special summon the Toon monster from your deck at the same level or rank or lower than the one they have. Unfortunately, it does target, and you do need Toon World, but this card's really good. You do need Toon Monster, but this can speed you up quite a lot. And it's based around the gimmick of, like, same with Comic Hand, of Pegasus taking, like, the opponent's monsters and turning them into Toons. It's basically, I think, how he made Toon Ancient Gear Golem, I think. If I remember right, he used Toon Mask on Corral's Ancient Gear Golem to make Toon Ancient Gear Golem. So, very, very good card. Now, that's it for all our Toon cards. Now, we're going to talk about a few cards you can play in the deck to kind of speed up the Archetype. So, you got Blackstone of Legend and 1/1, obviously, to search it, which let you get Red Eyes out on the field really easily, which contribute that summon Red Eyes Toon, and then Red Eyes Toon to summon Toon Dark Magician, and then Dark Magician to summon another Toon. Very, very strong combo there. Max C for draw power. And because we play so many spellcasters in the deck, we can actually get away with running Secrets and Knowledge. We don't need to run Blue Boy, as we have such little space for monsters anyway. And of course, Allure of Darkness, because we have so many dark targets. And then because we're playing so many spellcasters as well, and we're playing Secrets, we can play Wisdom as well in the deck if we want to protect. Because whilst where 2 monsters are protected from targeting, they are still affected by card effects. But Wisdom can help protect our Dark Magician Girl, Gemini Elf, Masked Sorcerer, and our Dark Magician. So very, very cool combo that you can use there. And of course, Wisdom is searchable because we do play Secrets. Because we have the gimmick of attacking directly, and we have Piercing if we play Ancient Gear Golem. Quaking and Floodgate are amazing cards to play in the deck, as they put our opponent's monsters into face-down defense mode, and they can't flip. Unfortunately, Link's wins of these cards kind of meh, but Floodgate can help you stop your opponent's Link materials, so they can't Link summon with face-down monsters. Because we do obviously play Floodgate, we can play Getaway when playing Roman Reflugia, and we can play our Floodgates from the deck. Because we do play Cyber Dragon, Chimera Tech Mega Fleet is actually playable in the deck because it only lists a Cyber Dragon monster, and it uses monsters in the extra monster zone, so we can actually get rid of our opponent's extra monsters or our opponent's link monsters if we really find them a problem. This guy's not going to be super big in terms of power, but it is still nice to have because we do have access to Toon Cyber Dragon. Because we have access to Toon Cyber Dragon, and we do play 1 to 2 of them, we can get away with running Nova and Infinity. And then, of course, you can run Instant Fusion and like Panzer Dragon as well to make a Nova so much easier to summon and then get out Infinity. Because the Toon deck has really no ways to negate anything. And because you're basically using a Cyber Dragon, I don't feel too much of a dickhead by playing Infinity because I'm losing at least 1 Cyber Dragon to actually summon the monster. So that's just how I feel. Then, of course, because we do have level 7s, and we do have Red Eyes, of course, we have Red Eyes Flare, decent target for us if we want to use Xyz summoning. We've got Big Eye. I mean, we take their monsters anyway, so why, with some of our cards, why not keep doing that with Big Eye? We have Naruto as for our Dark Magician Girls, as it's really, really strong, because it can negate spell or trap cards our opponent controls. We can't OTK them, we can like go into this guy with our Dark Magician Girls, and we can kind of like stop them, some spells and traps, so he's really good. We do have Trapeze Magician, because it allows our Toon monsters to attack again, And if we use this guy with a rollback as well, one of our 2 monsters can get 3 attacks. So if you have got this guy, your Dark Magician Girl, and you got your rollback, you know, your Dark Magician Girl is going to be able to attack 3 times that turn. So it's theoretically really, really good combo there. Or you can use it on rollback on one Dark Magician Girl, and you can use this guy on the other Dark Magician Girl, and you can attack twice with 2 of them. And then, of course, if you circle into the third one, you've got 8k damage right there. So this guy's really, really good. And then Alchemic Magician, because we play so many spells, you don't really want to go into her too much, but because you play so many spells, she's going to get pretty big as well. And she allows you to set spell and trap cards to your spell trap card zone by discarding cards. So if you really need to get like your Floodgate back, your spells. Oh no, you can set spells from your deck. So if you can't get your Toon Dark Magician out really quickly, she can help you set some spells as well. And she's a kind of really cute card as well. So anyway, guys, that's just like my analysis of the Toons. They have so much potential to be a strong archetype, much like Harpies, is they're all based on trolls, and they're still pretty decent against decks that are around the same power level as them. But the fact that they have summoning sickness is kind of bad. I'd like to see a card that existed that said like, this turn or once per turn, a Toon monster can attack the turn it's summoned. That would be really strong for the deck. Make it like a continuous trap or something like that, or at least for Kingdom to have that effect, it would be nice. But the fact that Kingdom is so expensive as well, and a lot of these Toon cards were not reprinted in Dragons of Legend Unleashed, also makes it so hard to get everything. Obviously, that's why I don't have a playset of English of TCG Toon Kingdoms, because of how expensive they are. And I don't feel, as good as the card is, I don't feel like the deck itself warrants $45 each for those field spells, and it's just so easy to deal with. But anyway, guys, Toons are so much fun to play with. I love the archetype, I love the trollness of it, and I love that it's all based on iconic monsters. It's one of my all-time favorite archetypes to play, and guys, just mess around with it. I hear it's actually quite good in Duel Links right now, and if you guys want to check it out, please, I recommend it. Thank you guys so much for checking out my video, and I'll catch you guys soon for my next video. Till then, I'll catch you guys later.